location to get credit. So I did a little research at the time, and I found that, in fact, it's common. Credit is very difficult to get if you don't live in a developing country. If you live outside of one of those blue dots, it's very hard for you to get a loan. For example, those yellow dots, you have like a 5 to 30% chance of getting a loan. And that kind of scarcity makes loans very expensive. So the average for the undeveloped nations is 145% APR. Those rates are outrageous, and if you compare it to rates people can get here, which are on average 7% a year, you can see that some banks are making a lot of money out of the third world and the developing countries. So a use case for that, for example, is you take HSBC. They have branches in Brazil and also have branches in Europe. So, so for example, you have a savings account here. You put your money in that savings account. They pay you 6 to 7% a year of interest in your deposits, and they will lend that same money to a Brazilian, and they will charge that Brazilian 10% amount. So that is not right. Well, but this is only the tip of the iceberg. If you look at the bottom, you see that people, the really poor people that are making less than $2 a day, you see that there's a direct correlation between bank penetration and poverty. So, for example, if you take a look at those blue bars, they represent the percentage of population that is living with only $2 a day. And you see that there's an inverse relationship between the amount of money they are making and the number of deposit accounts they have. So you may think, okay, so Bitcoin is really nice. Bitcoin can solve that problem because, well, you don't need to have a bank account to use Bitcoin. But the problem is, if you don't have money, you don't have Bitcoin too. And so Bitcoin is a good start, but you need more than that to alleviate poverty. What you need to alleviate poverty is credit. And today in the Bitcoin economy, there is no, well, before BTCJam, there was no credit. What we are doing is providing credit to the Bitcoin economy. This is a research made by the World Bank, and it's proving that even for really poor people, taking a loan to buy food or to buy clothes to make an interview or to pay for the transportation to go to work can make a huge improvement in the life of that person. So by facilitating loans and enabling people to get money, to buy new clothes, to do a job interview, or to buy food, they are more likely to get out of poverty. So Bitcoin is a perfect instrument to do that, because the operational costs are very low, because we don't depend on fiat, which is a material thing. And when you put credit side by side with it, you can make it much more effective. So basically, that's BTCJam mission. We want to make credit accessible and affordable to all, while providing safe returns to investors, because we are a marketplace. So instead of because in the other side of the equation, we have people who have money here in the US, okay? And they, for you, it's very hard to put your money to work or your Bitcoins to work here. As I said, like in a savings account, you need, you get a very low interest from the bank. And so in one side you have people that are paying 200% APR, and the other side you have people who want to make some money with their savings and they get nothing. So what we are doing is connecting those two sides, and then an American or a German guy, or in UK someone can take this money and invest in a Brazilian or in a Chinese or someone in Mexico. And so this person will be paying a lot less interest, but at the same time, the investor here will be super happy because instead of making 6, 7, 8%, today our investors are making on average 19%. So this is very good for them. And our borrowers are paying on average 45% APR. Well, 45% is kind of high if you think using US standards, but if you, like a Brazilian or a Mexican, you are paying like 4 times less interest than you'll be paying to a bank. So this is a win-win situation, and we are very proud of being able to deliver that. We are online for 1 year, almost 2 years now, and we have just serviced more than $6 million in loans so far. Our growth is accelerating fast. This month, we alone will be originating $1 million in loans. So, sorry about that. Okay, how we are doing that? Basically, there are two main pillars of the system. We have a global credit score algorithm, and we are using Bitcoin to connect and do micro-lending, because each loan has on average 20 investors. So let's imagine that, try to imagine doing that, those loans with fiat. Well, we have like a $500 loan funded by 200 different people. If you do that with fiat money, it's impossible, because we have users from 140 countries. So your loan, the average loan is being funded by more than 50 different countries, and the amounts are very small. So the taxes and the fees involved are simply make that type of loan impossible. So this is the Bitcoin part. And the credit scoring part is the other side of the equation, because outside the developed countries also the credit scoring is really rare. So, and this also makes those loans very expensive. What we did was to develop a credit scoring algorithm that can take into account many user traits and make those trades and predict the payment probability of the user. My background is in artificial intelligence and machine learning. So basically, for example, when you do a facial recognition algorithm, every pixel of the face of the user is a data point. I translated that concept to the borrower. So the borrower, every trait of the borrower, for example, the education of his parents, the location, his age, every aspect of the borrower is a data point. And after you do statistical analysis over that, you are able to separate those groups of payers and no payers and everything in between, so you can calculate the probability of the repayment. So basically, that's the core of the credit scoring system. Well, so many experiments we did. Well, since I like Bitcoin, I like privacy, I like liberty, I like enable people to do whatever they want. So at the beginning, I allowed anonymous loans. So basically, I went to Bitcoin Talk and invited people to go to the platform and enroll and ask for loans. And it was nice. I was happy. Okay, you can enroll. It's totally anonymous. You don't submit anything. You ask for a loan. Many people invested, but very few people got the money back. That's kind of sad. The repayment rate at the time was, well, 60%. But well, I lost many early adopters because of that experiment. But well, as you can see, the repayment rate has been growing over time because of the statistical analysis aspects of it. So every time someone's defaults, the system learns something about it. And for the next borrower, we are able to predict better the outcome of the loan. So basically today, our global repayment rate is around 90%. This is around across all the credit scores. We have a system that goes from A to E, and the A guys today, the repayment probability is above 98%, which is comparable to the best scoring people in US that have like really high FICO scores. But we are doing that using only public available information about the person and globally across more than 140 countries. This is the average return for an investor, which is also pretty nice.
Does that include non-repayment?
I'm sorry?
Does that return include non-repayment?
Yes. This is the return after you discount all the losses. Because the average interest rate of the loans is 45%. So discounting all the losses, you have 19% return. The outlook of the market potential is really huge because there is a lot of demand for credit in the world. If you take into account only outstanding credit card debt, it is more than $1 trillion. And today, the major peer-to-peer lending websites, they are doing $5 billion. So they are capturing less than 1% of the total potential. And well, that's mostly because they rely on old school credit scoring systems like the Fair Isaac system, FICO, and they use their own technology, which is fiat money. So we have the potential to address a much greater market. So this is basically a recap. What we are doing is lending, cross-border lending. We enable investors to diversify investment across many different risk profiles. So for example, when you invest across 1,000 different borrowers across different continents and countries, you can protect yourself against localized crises. For example, crash in a local market, or I don't know, some disaster.
Social unrest.
I'm sorry?
Social unrest, like Ukraine.
Social unrest, exactly. So it's safer to the investor, so you can diversify globally. And also for the borrower, you get much more liquidity because you get much more exposure. Like you have people from all over the world looking at your loan and investing in you. So also the potential for liquidity is much higher This is a sorry. This is a slide I use like for VCs and people who don't know Bitcoin well, because many people, well, when you talk about Bitcoin, oh my God, you are a thief. Oh, you are doing drug dealing, right? Something like this. And well, I think this is a good use case of doing a really nice thing with Bitcoin, and I think it's a good use of the protocol. Well, that's the presentation.